for the Wexner Medical Center, for the Day family, and for all of our patients and their families across Central Ohio. My name is Andy Thomas. I'm the interim co-leader and chief clinical officer for the OSU Wexner Medical Center. This is a great day to celebrate the work of our Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Health and the work of hundreds of people that work in that space around mental health and resilience in our community. Specifically, it's a great day for the patients that they care for and the more patients they will be able to care for based on the gift we are going to be discussing today. As many of you know, Nina and Ryan Day have been longtime advocates for behavioral health. They've been a real model in our community and nationally for leading open and honest discussions about mental health and in sharing their vulnerable moments. Their work in raising awareness amongst young people, amongst athletes, amongst coaches, and just amongst the population in general has really been outstanding to see over the last few years. And we're thrilled that they are engaging with us here at the Wexner Medical Center on these same issues. So with that, I'm going to turn things to President Christina Johnson to make our formal announcement.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Thomas, and good morning, everyone. I'm pleased to join you today with some very exciting news. It's an honor and a privilege to announce that football head coach Ryan Day and his wife Nina have made a $1 million gift to create the Nina and Ryan Day Resilience Fund that will support our Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Health. Thank you so much. The Day's philanthropy will advance the already outstanding work of Dr. Luan Fan, who is the chair of the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Health, and his exceptional team. Dr. Fan and several of his faculty, staff, including many from Harding Hospital, are here today. So a shout out and a heartfelt thanks for all you do to help with the mental wellness of all of the Buckeye community. And we're going to hear from Dr. Fan shortly. I want to just take a minute to talk about resilience and what it means to me. Supporting and building resilience in our fellow Buckeyes has been a top priority of mine and of Ohio State ever since I started a couple of years ago. We're focused on uplifting all of our community members and ensuring that everyone, when they have a need, gets what they need. And the past few years have made that goal even more important. I'm so grateful to Nina and Coach Day for their leadership and their role in helping shape the movement around mental health and wellness on our campus and beyond. More broadly, they've helped raise awareness and increased educational opportunities and inspired advocacy for mental wellness. Coach Day started this momentum and resilience first with our student athletes. Mental health support is a key pillar of the circle of care Coach Day maintains for student athletes in his program. He's invested in 2 full-time psychologists, 2 athletic counselors, and a part-time psychiatrist on staff. And it was this commitment and receptiveness to the conversation that gave Harry Miller the courage to share his story and speak up about his struggles. We hope that his bravery will encourage others to do the same. At our commencement ceremony last August, when we spoke to the 2020 graduates, Nina and Coach Day both spoke of their own mental health challenges and demonstrated that sharing your vulnerability is a powerful thing. It showed our Buckeyes and their families that it's okay to speak up, that our leaders can share their personal thoughts, and we can too. So to Nina and Coach Day, your daughters Mia and Grace, who are here also, thank you so much for what you do for Ohio State and this very generous gift. It will help us provide greater services and outreach tools to continue the fight against the stigma that too often discourages people in need of help from seeking that help. I'll finish by sharing one of Coach Day's sayings. They're known as Dayisms that I really like. Win the moment. This moment right now is a major win. And with their Resilience Fund, the Days have made sure that there will be many more winnable moments to come. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, President Johnson. I echo those remarks. When you think about this gift that the Day family is making to the medical center today, it's a gift to our community, both at the university as well as across Central Ohio. When you think of what we've all lived through over the last 2+ years, resilience could not be a better word for what we need to encourage in our community. And even though the Department of Psychiatry does a lot of things, I think the focus on mental wellness and emotional health is really critical. And this gift will only further those efforts. You know, I think back to this spring when I was driving into work and got a call on my phone from Ryan. It was like a Tuesday morning. And he said, you know, Nina and I have been doing a lot with Children's Hospital, and we want to thank you again for that work in our community as well. And we'd really like to engage with the Wexner Medical Center around something related to behavioral health and wellness. And it really just started conversations over a few weeks, but your family's willingness to step up, both with your messaging and how you've made, you know, public your stories about the challenges in your family and other Harry Miller's perfect example of how you can be as a coach, a leader, and showing how we can help young people who are struggling with behavioral health issues as well. But the discussions went very well, and we think that this is going to be a terrific long-term relationship to work on these issues jointly with the Day family. And we're thrilled, and I'm thrilled to introduce Nina and Ryan Day to make some comments.
Thank you, President Johnson. Brian and I are honored to be here today with you and with those who are doing so much to support the mental wellness of students, faculty, staff, patients, and all of Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Dr. Thomas, for your support of mental health and wellness research at the Wexner Medical Center. Thank you, Dr. Fahn, for your groundbreaking work to better understand resilience. And to the dedicated staff members from Harding Hospital who are here with us this morning, thank you for all that you do to care for those with mental health needs. We feel very fortunate to be able to support this important work happening here at Ohio State. This work benefits entire families. That's why it was so important to us that our children, Grace and Nia, be with us today. RJ is unfortunately at football practice. Resilience. The ability to bounce back from adversity is a powerful shield. Just as we build physical strength, building resilience in our lives can make us stronger. Mental health professionals are constantly improving the treatment of depression, anxiety, and other mental health challenges, and that work is critically important. But resilience is something we can all work on and develop to help us overcome challenges. As we all know, today's fast-paced world can bring stressful obstacles, including some that we don't see coming. Like all families, we have shared great moments and successes, while also experiencing heartache and struggle. We want our kids to understand that life is about enjoying the highs and managing the lows. We want our children to have the resilience to thrive in the face of adversity. And if they ever face a challenge that feels too big to handle, we want them to be empowered to ask for help. That's why we feel every parent wants for every child. And that's why Ryan and I feel so strongly about advocating for mental health. We partnered with Nationwide Children's Hospital in 2019 to create a fund for pediatric and adolescent mental wellness. We believe that On Our Sleeves campaign not only is helping to break the stigma surrounding mental health, but also educating our youth and providing them tools and resources. And now we are so pleased to create this fund for resilience to help the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center focus on the mental health needs of college-aged people and adults.
It's a little different press conference than I'm used to, so this is exciting. As some of you know, supporting mental health services and ending the stigma around mental illness are causes that are very dear to our heart. Ohio State has been very good to our family, and we feel that investing in the mental wellness of Buckeye Nation is a tremendous privilege and the right thing to do. Nina and I know from our own experiences what a great difference mental health care can make in the life of someone who is hurting. Our circle of care for the Buckeye football players, which includes mental health along with physical wellness and the support that they need. When Nina and I spoke to the Ohio State 2020 graduates in a delayed celebration last year, we shared some of what has helped us through the times and the difficult times of being a Division I football family. The first one, find people that can confide and draw wisdom from, a good coach. Draw strength from the people you love who are in your corner, but are also honest with you, a strong team. And even when life gets really tough and you don't feel okay, remember that there are really good things around you. celebrate the joy where you can find it. I think all three of those strategies are part of being resilient, but there's much more to be learned about resilience and how to cultivate it. Dr. Lawan Fawn leads the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Health at The Ohio State College of Medicine. He's committed to research that can improve our understanding and treatment of anxiety and mood disorders. He also has been a pioneer in resilience studies at Ohio State and elsewhere, and is the chair for psychiatry and resilience at the College of Medicine. When breakthroughs happen in science, it often turns out they were funded by philanthropy. Funds made available with research with relatively few conditions attached. The freedom made possible by this kind of giving allows brilliant scientists like Dr. Fawn to follow their intuition in whatever direction it takes them. Private philanthropy has been called America's unique research advantage, and no other nation in the world has the culture of private giving like we do here in the United States. This gives American scientists the greatest access to funds for early stage research and projects that might fail, but on the other hand, could change the world for the better. It's our hope that this fund can be part of doing just that. Just about every challenge we face as individuals and as a society is easier to overcome with better mental health, and that comes from resilience. I invite our fellow Buckeyes to join us in supporting this work and to building a healthy community. President Johnson, I want to thank you again for your leadership in making mental health a priority here at Ohio State. Dr. Thomas, I want to thank you for making the Wexner Medical Center a special place where great work can be done. I also want to thank Gene Smith for all the support that he puts towards mental health with all of our students at Ohio State. And now I'll invite Dr. Fawn to explain the work he and his colleagues are doing to help Buckeye Nation and the world become more resilient. Thank you.
Well, in a way, I couldn't have said it better than Nina and Coach Day have said it so far. So very eloquent and passionate words for sure. Thank you, Coach Day, Nina, for supporting this effort. Certainly, thank you, President Johnson, and Andy for really being a leader in this space as well, and Dean Bradford, and much of our leadership here. Your generous $1 million gift is transformative. Obviously, it's going to add resources to things that we want to provide, but it becomes a catalyst because you start the conversation. Other people can now speak more openly about the struggles that they're going through. And I really want to thank you for being a champion for resilience. As we all know, we've endured a lot of stress these last 3 years, and certainly mental health challenges is on a continuum. On one end, it's an illness, it's a disorder, but then on the other end, it's about just struggling, languishing, just trying to struggle through the day-to-day stressors that we all have. And it's lasted, unfortunately, a lot longer than we had hoped. And I think that's what we want to think about going forward, which is how to spin the paradigm from taking care of illness towards prevention, towards resilience, towards building and cultivating resilience. Resilience, as Coach Day said, is the ability to bounce back, not only to bounce back, but to learn, to adapt, thrive, and even do better than what we had before. And typically our department has taken care of people in the deep end. We'll always be there to take care of people in the deep end. It's more now important, as Coach Day knows really well. We can't play defense all the time. We have to take the offense. And to me, the resilience game is really an offense game. Desmond Tutu said, a couple years back when he won the Nobel Peace Prize, and it's a mantra I really hold dear to my heart, which is there comes a point where you need to stop pulling people out of the river. You got to go upstream and figure out why they're falling in the first place. And this is where we are going to be turning our science and our research into, which is not everyone does poorly after adversity and stress. People have skills, people have ability to bounce back and do well. What can we learn in the science of resilience to cultivate that so that we can give those same skills to other people so that they can do better when it comes to challenges of mental health, illness, and addiction? The generous gifts from the days and many others will begin to propel that mission that science, that research, and then how to transform that to strategies and treatments for our communities. We need to fight mental illness, just like we fight cancer, just like we fight heart disease, just like we fight any other physical illness. And for us in our department at Harding Hospital, mental illness, physical illness are one and the same. And I think we need to have that kind of conversation going forward. So how do we go forward to do that? And I think that what we want to build is a center for psychiatry and resilience where we bring researchers and clinicians together so that we can transform the care that we do with patients right away into the research that we're doing and vice versa. I think that's really, really important. Our department has grown by double since I've arrived 3 years ago. We've tripled our extramural funding by the NIH and other extramural sources. And the center itself will bring together scientists and clinicians, just like when you go to the cancer center here at the James or at the heart hospital, you know that you're going to meet the best minds to solve the mind's biggest problems. And we want to do the same thing for mental health. And given that Ohioans has suffered, perhaps struggled with any other state in parallel across the country, we are ground zero for making a difference. We have a shared experience in COVID. We have a shared experience in the trauma that it's brought. And now bringing together a center will really drive that going forward. We want to create a safe space. As Heron Miller, when I talked to him, he sort of said as a student, I wish it wasn't weird to bring up mental health. I wish it was okay. And I think we want to create an experience where peers come together to support one another, because I think shared experience, lived experience is really fundamental to how we move forward in society. And lastly, a lot of families come to me and they sort of say, I don't know where to go. You know, I have an issue. I don't know what to do, how to get help. And unless like Andy has my cell phone, he can call me right away. So that's not a problem. But I think what we really need is navigators in this space because families really need people to guide them to the next important step in their care. So I think that's going to be a really important part of our study as well. As I've shared with you before, we have a big proposal in front of the state to really think about studying risk and resilience, modifiable factors that we can bring into the home, into the schools, into the workplace, in which we develop strategies to modify those risk factors to essentially shift somebody's risk from being vulnerable to being strong and surviving stress. And I think that's going to be life-saving going forward. Certainly, the science is still very young, and obviously a gift like that of the days, the Resilience Fund, will bring the best minds to Ohio. I think that's going to be the ultimate thing. I've been really lucky to surround myself with really great, talented people in the department and recruit new people, but we need to do more and more of that going forward so that we bring the best minds to tackle those problems here in Ohio. So with the support of champions like Nina and Ryan Day, we are quickly gaining ground. It's going to be a big paradigm shift. We believe that their generous effort and gift will inspire others to do the same. And it's really about the community. It's about bringing as many leaders as possible into joining us in this fight. And with the help of Buckeye Nation, we're going to win. We're going to be we're going to win the moment. And that's going to be really important. So go Bucks. Thank you very much for your support, and look forward to sharing more updates going forward.
You can tell why we're so thrilled to have Dr. Fahn here with us. It's been 4.5 years or so since he joined us from University of Illinois, Chicago, but I did have to brief Nina and Ryan before our first meeting that he did spend his formative years plus college plus early in his career at that school up north, which was, they got past it though. They got past it. And we're here today. So anyway, with that, I want to open up for any of our guests here from the media, if there are any questions for the days or for Dr. Fahn. Yes. Nina, do you want to come to the microphone? That might be better just to.
And the first one was mine.
Resilience.
Exactly. You want to talk about mental health? I got some anxiety right now. It's always been a passion of mine. I've suffered from anxiety most of my life. And I suffered probably the roughest point of my life was in college, and there were no resources, and I privately struggled. And as I had children and growing up with Ryan, and we just decided how important it was for them to grow up in a different world, where if they experience any type of anxiety or depression, that they had resources and that they felt empowered to ask for help. Tim.
Next, yes.
Ring 10 years ago, you would have the wherewithal to make this kind of thing. And a lot of people put that money in the gold, silver, you pay forward, so to speak. Why is that important?
I just think it's how wonderful Ohio State's been to our family. And like you said, no, there's no way 5 to 10 years ago, you'd think you'd be in a situation like this just on a day-to-day basis. But certainly what Gene Smith has done to my family and what President Johnson has done, and just what Buckeye community has done. We just felt like it was the right thing to do. So many people have poured into us and invested into our family. We just think it's the right thing to do to give back.
Question.
I think first off, the city of Columbus and Ohio State is really at the forefront of mental health. And so to be a part of that means a lot to our family. And we hope that we know more in 5 years. Like you said, 5, 10 years down the road, we know much more than we do right now. We already know much more than we did 10 years ago, already breaking those stigmas. But like Dr. Fawn said, with their great work and their research, that they can start to learn more about the risk factors and the things that lead to mental illness down the road. That's it. That's exactly right. So yeah, so the On Our Sleeves was for children and adolescents, and educating those and trying to get to some of the schools and break the stigmas around that, but also be part of the behavioral health hospital right down in downtown Columbus. The thing that's different here is this is the people we work with every day. This is college age students. These are adults, and so there was a lot of things that happened. Some like Harry's situation, but there was other couple that who haven't made public where there were people that needed the resources. And certainly that college age, when Nina and I started talking about that's a tough year for a lot of people. That's a tough stretch for a lot of people. And so, they need the resources, they need the help, but then also identifying what those risk factors are is what we really love to be a part of, to get out in front of it. Like Dr. Fawn's quote about, trying to get out in front of this and not just responding. And so I guess the biggest differentiators, one is really for the children, and this is more for, our students, Buckeye Nation, and for adults. And then I think the last thing too is this is a resiliency fund. And I think you heard that word a lot today. It's building resilience up and building that strength to move forward.
Question in the back.
Well, I think first off that there are resources and there's help out there. I think that's the first thing, and that and it's hard in the moment, but to recognize that if you do break your leg, there's a solution. It's to go in and get a cast and get it healed. When you have a mental affliction, it's similar. It doesn't seem similar, but it is. There's a solution. There's treatment. There's different avenues that we can take to help treat those types of things. So I just think that approach is hopeful and not where you think there's no answers. I think that's really, really important. There are resources, and that's what we're working on. I don't know if you have anything else to add.
I would just like to tell people, just like your physical health, we all kind of struggle with, colds and COVID and broken ankles and all that, you know, your brain is another organ in your body that can get sick. And not to feel shame if it does, and feel empowered to ask for help.
We have time for probably one more question. Nan?
Real the conversations in terms of Yeah, no, I think it's a great question. I think for 17, 18, 19-year-old people, it's very different the last few years, somebody who's 40 years old. You know, if you're 40 years old, 50 years old, you went through the pandemic, okay, life's getting back to normal. You have a reference point. This is normal. Well, for a lot of our teenagers, college students, and young people, normal was COVID. That was a big part of their life. So now trying to figure out what that's like and getting back to normal is different for them. So I think recognizing that, being aware of that on how they go, because they've gone really from a lot of them isolation to now getting back to working with people, and really talking about it is the biggest thing. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate everyone being here today. And now I know a little bit about how Jerry feels every Saturday trying to field questions from the media. Thanks, Jerry, for being here as well. And I know Gene and Sheila are here. Thank them as well for their participation. And thank all of you. I think today is just the first step towards a lot of what we've been discussing: breaking the silence, reducing stigma, and making sure people feel comfortable asking for help, seeking help, and then making sure that we're there to help as well. So thank you all very much. I appreciate you being here today. Take care. Go Bucks.